I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question. It's a fair question. It's a fair question. I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question. It's a fair question. I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question. Hello, I'm Vic Cohen, and it is a fair question. On this show, well, basically, there is no question that is ever off limits. I am warning our guest. He is an amazing guy. He's cutting edge in the world of the digital world, I believe it's called.
Yes, it is.
New media, perhaps?
You could call it new media.
I just did. He's just a great guy and a lot of fun and excellent at what he does. His name is Brian Rada.
Yes.
Hello, Brian.
Hello, Vic Cohen.
Hello. Now, before we start, well, we've already started, but before we get too into the show,
yes,
I need to warn you.
Yeah.
And I need to make sure you agree to the rules of the show.
Okay.
That there is no question that will ever be off limits. Perhaps I might ask you a question that you may be uncomfortable with.
Okay.
But being here today, you are agreeing to those rules and understanding that there may be those moments of discomfort.
Great.
I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to ask you questions that I know all of you watching or listening are going to want to know. And also, you don't have to answer. That's the other part of this.
I can plead the fifth.
Okay. So my first question for you is boxers or briefs?
You know, I'm going to tell you.
None.
I'm a boxer brief guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because why choose either? I'm instead of either or, I'm either or.
So boxer briefs are,
well,
they're not
they're like briefs, but I look better with the longer silhouette, so it goes a little bit further down. It goes a little bit further down my crotch area.
Okay, great.
And
we're getting right to it.
I do find them to be very comfortable.
Okay, but there's no like real boxers. Here's the thing: boxers should be loose fitting, and those aren't.
No.
So I don't think it's totally inaccurate to call those boxer briefs.
Well,
I don't think it's right. Just call them long briefs or half briefs.
Okay.
Or half long johns.
Okay.
Or thigh lows. I don't know. I think there needs to be a new name for it. It really bothers me.
Yeah, I got it. But I find them to be a little more comfortable because it doesn't cut you off right there at the
okay, I get that.
At the thigh gap there.
Well, and I know you want to know, and I'm going to answer. I am I'm a briefs guy.
Okay.
Bikini briefs. Now,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Great to know. I know. That's really important.
I can sleep a little bit better tonight knowing that.
So, Brian, I do need to say that I'm quite impressed with you in many ways. And first off, I want to say you're the first guest who's actually come to the show wearing pancake. Now, I know you're all about image in that, but what's going on with the pancake?
Oh,
the little makeup.
Okay. Well, it's funny. I told, and I haven't posted it to social media, and I should have. I was in my kitchen the other day, and I was hanging this pot rack above my stove so I could have more easier access to my pots and pans and all my things. And I had this old hanging rack from IKEA, and I was trying to mend it with something I got from the Container Store. And I was trying to make them fit together. It was these two different systems that weren't working. Yes. And this thing I was trying to fit on the Container Store thing came back and hit me directly in my eye. So I literally have a black eye.
See, now,
that's a really lame story.
It is. It was fascinating.
That somebody punched me in the face.
I will never get that minute back. Yes. No, actually, that's nice. Here's what I think really happened.
Yeah.
I think that you wanted to wear pancake.
Yeah.
And that you put a fake black eye there to give this.
You're right. I spent all the time putting a fake black eye underneath.
Because you didn't want to look too vain.
Well, if you look a little closer, it's really only over my eye, but I am wearing makeup over
my.
Well,
you look quite handsome
over my right eye. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come and fully make up.
Of course. Well, this is a big show. Of
course it is. Well, you come in here now. I'm calling you a YouTube star maker.
I got that. I like that. I like that.
I think it's a great title for you.
I think so too.
And so I'm okay. So I have a Facebook page. I have YouTube videos up, and they get some good views. Mm-hmm. But I haven't really focused on I want to be a YouTube star. Now, to become a YouTube star? I don't know if it's an oxymoron. Like when you're a YouTube star, who's your audience? Like 12-year-olds? For the most part, or
it certainly skews younger. I've long
in
said
utero.
Almost. I would say that the core demographic of YouTube is 11 to 17.
Okay, months old.
No, I think we're going in years, but
okay.
It could be,
11 to 17.
It continues to skew younger and younger.
Now, here's my philosophy on that. Tell me if I'm right. It's because they're the ones who have the most time to mess around online.
Well, yes. And they're also the ones who have the most time to mess around on social media.
Okay,
which is why they're setting the trends for how everything goes, because they have the time.
So
to
there's
really
an 11-year-old punk in Des Moines who's setting the social trends.
Could be.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's exactly. You're not too far off. I'm actually originally from Sacramento.
I'm sorry.
I know. Well, it's okay. Sacktown, Sacramento. And actually, I'm not even from Sacramento. That's what people say. I'm from a suburb of Sacramento.
Are you, like you come across as Jewish, not to be like.
No, I'm not Jewish. But
or Italian.
Some of my best friends say they call me Brian Rodestein.
I believe that.
They make fun of me. They
Are you
call
Italian?
me Brian Rodestein. I am Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm half Italian.
I figured if you're from Sacramento, you're either Jewish or Italian.
Is that?
No. No, but you have like one of those two things, I would say.
Yeah, I do.
Anyways,
I have a bit
go
of
on.
Italian in me. So actually, I was going to say that one of the hottest YouTube sensations on YouTube for years is this channel called Smosh.
SMOSH?
SMOSH. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what's so great about Smosh?
They're out of Carmichael, California, which is a suburb of Sacramento, not too far from where I grew up. And they just do sketch comedy things. It's like these two guys doing silly things, but they've been doing it forever. YouTube is still in its infancy to some degree, but it's been around for almost like 7-8 years.
Let's say I want to become a YouTube star today.
Yeah.
Is there room?
There's always room for good quality content. And I would never discourage anybody to say, actually I did hear a YouTube star a year ago say, I wouldn't recommend to any of my actor friends to go and start a YouTube channel to build their brand on YouTube. And it's its own thing. I disagree. I think, we're only going to see it continue to grow. It's kind of like when I was in my teenage years, my father and I went to go buy a Mac computer, and they were like the old Apple IIs and stuff. Yeah. And they were like, oh yeah, you should buy this now. They'll last you forever. It's like the whole trend isn't going to change. This will last you for a long time. And, within 6 months and back then it could last you a year or two. Now it's like, 6 months, you got to get a new one. But
you get a laptop every 6 months.
No, I don't. But I think you can.
You could.
You could and get
changing rapidly.
Get a newer version of that. And but I think no matter whatever your point of entry is, it's never a bad time to start.
You say it skews young as far as who's clicking in on the YouTube videos. But does that mean that my feeling is you can be any age? If you're funny, if you're 75 years old and you've got a hook, an 11-year-old will watch that if it's silly and not adult. But if it's, that's my philosophy. I think funny is funny.
Absolutely. One of the hottest guys on YouTube initially a couple years ago, and he's still got quite a following, is What the Buck, Michael Buckley.
Yeah, I remember.
Called Buck Hollywood. Yeah, and he's got, I think he's pushing his late 30s, maybe early 40s. I don't know how old he is. And if he's younger than that, I apologize, Mr. Buckley. But, he's still got a real young demographic because he talks about topical things. His show is, what's happening in Hollywood. So he's talking about trending topics that are really current. So no matter what age you are, you're going to find that interesting. Okay.
Now, when it comes to social media, I feel like I'm totally out of it. Like, I think Facebook is social media.
Yeah. No, it is. It absolutely is.
These are the things I think of as social. Is there such a thing as anti-social media? That would be a new thing.
That would be sitting home in your apartment reading a book.
Okay, that might be me. Okay, so we've got Facebook. Like, if you want to be a player, I hate that term, but you really want to be smart about this, where do you need to have a presence?
If I was starting out right now.
Yes.
Well, actually, I'm going to give you them a PR marketing answer I'd give my clients. Who is your demographic? Who are you starting to reach? Who are you trying to reach out to? So, if your demographic is an older demographic, I would say Facebook is a very viable place to start, still. Because if your target audience is between 35 and 55, why not build a presence on Facebook? Because that's where all those people are. But if you're skewing for the tween set, then you want to be on Vine. You want to be on Instagram. You know, you want to be on Snapchat. You know, you want to be on some of these younger, hipper platforms.
How do you keep track? It seems like every month there's a new thing that you need to be on.
There certainly can be.
Like, what are the essentials right now? Must-haves.
The must-haves. I typically, if I'm looking at somebody who's looking to work with a client who's on YouTube and they want to build their platform off of YouTube and create a strategy around it, I always recommend these 4: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. Okay. Those are the 4 I like. Now, depending upon their content, what they're talking about, I would also say, well, now you might want to look at Vine. You also might want to look at Pinterest, which is, especially if they're in the DIY genre.
Do it yourself?
Do it DIY, do it yourself. You know, very heavy with the female audience, the homemakers who are in sharing recipes and a lot of other things. But that's really only in this country. In other countries, Pinterest is 50-50. It's half male, half female.
Here
It's only in America that it skews heavily female.
What is, so like when I have an app on my phone where I can post on, okay, so I want to take a picture.
Okay.
Let's say you and I want a picture with Brian. Okay.
Yes.
The first mistake I can make is using my regular camera, right? I should go right to my Instagram camera. Is that right?
No, actually.
Or go to an...
I tell people to go to their camera. No, that's actually, it's the reverse.
Okay, so I go to my camera.
You want to go to your regular camera, take the photo there.
You think the quality's better?
Because the quality is better, and you can have Instagram can bug out. I think they've fixed a lot of those bugs by now, but it's better because then it's in your main camera. You have it you can reappropriate it for other platforms.
Okay, great. So, and again, not to sound too out of it, but when you say other platforms, you're talking about Twitter.
Other social media platforms.
Okay. Is everything considered a social media platform? Everything you've mentioned so far, Pinterest?
Yes, absolutely.
Pinterest?
Pinterest?
I said Pinterest.
Pinterest is considered a social media platform. And also, YouTube itself is a social media platform.
Okay.
And Tumblr, which is largely a blogging platform, is also a social media platform.
Like so Vic Cohen, I'm a brand. I am a brand.
Of course you are.
No, but like, should I be on Tumblr?
Yeah, if you want to go, Tumblr is going to get you a little deeper. So it's more than just a 2 or 3 sentence post. Tumblr, you can blog, you can write paragraphs.
So
you
a paragraph
can share,
a day.
You can share GIFs. Exactly.
What are GIFs?
GIFs are those...
Oh, GIFs.
GIFs.
Okay. I thought you said a gift.
No, GIFs. GIFs. Those are those things that float back and forth. Like there'll be an image and then it floats.
Oh, is that a GIF?
Well, a GIF is a 2-second moving image.
Oh, okay.
That's it's somewhere between a photo and a video. That's a GIF.
I didn't. Okay.
So the GIFs, those are really popular on Tumblr. And, they're semi-complicated. I don't know if they're semi-complicated. I mean, they take some involvement. I've never made a GIF, so I don't know. But
is Tumblr a necessity for everyone?
If you want to start skew with a younger demographic, I would say yes. But if you're over 35, maybe your audience is probably over 35, maybe it's not imperative that you're on Tumblr. But,
So let's get back to the picture. So here I am. I want a picture with Brian Rada of Brian Rada Consulting.
That's right.
It's RODDA.
That's right.
You have a website.
I do.
It's your name, right? Brian Rada. Is it consulting?
Yeah, Brian Rada Consulting.
Okay. So I want a picture with you.
BrianRadaConsulting.com.
I use my regular camera on my iPhone. Mm-hmm. I take the photo. Now, should I be using an app that has all the different platforms I'm on so I can share that photo everywhere? Or what do I do with that picture?
That's really why I like Instagram, because Instagram links to your other accounts.
So then I open up Instagram. I open up that app.
Yep. You open up the app. You take the photo. You select your filter if you want to do a filter.
Just so we're clear, I've already taken the photo. You mean I select the picture?
Yes. So Instagram allows you to, thank you. Instagram allows you to select from your photo library.
Okay.
So you don't have to, you can either take it with Instagram, or if since you're ready to take it with your camera, it'll open up your photo library. It's connected. Then you pick that photo from your photo library on your camera.
Crop it. You can do all that in Instagram.
Yeah, you can zoom in, zoom out. You can change filters. You can change radiance, contrast, all those things.
And you would suggest doing that in Instagram versus on your camera phone? All the cropping and filters.
Because you can do all that, yeah.
Okay.
And now what's really great, now this is where it gets complicated, and this is where my specialty comes into play. There's a lot of other applications you can use that will assist you in optimizing your social media platform.
Okay, so let's just stick with, and I want to hear what that is.
Okay, sure.
So we're in Instagram.
So your Instagram, so you've doctored the photo, however you want to doctor it. So.
And I said, I write something.
Yeah.
Now, what should I be writing?
So there's a lot of things. So you want to tag the people you're with.
Okay.
You always want to give love. Social media is about giving love.
Okay.
So like when I came here, I put on a photo. I said, I'm with, Vic Cohen.
There was a lot of love.
That was a lot of love.
You're oozing love.
I wrote your name and then I tagged you, the Vic Cohen, which is your Instagram handle.
Right.
And then I put a link to the website where they can listen to us right now. So you're usually sharing a link, you're tagging, there's a lot of things, a lot of assets. You have the image, you have a link to where you want to send people. You've tagged me. Well, it tags me out. It comes out from me, so it's from me. And I've tagged you.
Right. Because we're following each other on Instagram. Mm-hmm. If you don't follow the person, you can't tag them.
No, you can also search for them. No, you don't have to be following. I don't know if I'm following you on Instagram, but I found you right away because you told me what your handle was.
I see. But if you don't know the
search
handle.
for you. Well, you have to ask the person.
Okay.
So
that's tough.
You have to actually create intimacy and actually be vulnerable.
Be social. For the social media.
Exactly.
Okay, so go on.
So I would say, hey, I'm with Vic Cohen on,
Now, why didn't you go at Vic Cohen?
Well, I did that later.
Oh, okay.
So because it enabled me to tag you after I wrote your name. So you could put your name twice, depending.
Is that suggested?
No. I could have done it that way. I could have tagged you. I'm with at the Vic Cohen, on his podcast, #podcast, #web series. So these are the assets you want to have: the image, hashtags, a link, and tagging who you're with. So those 4 things really make a good post.
The reason I was saying at Vic Cohen, because that's my Twitter name. Exactly. That's what I'm curious about. Like, should you have written twice, like # the Vic Cohen and then at Vic Cohen? So that people who have my Twitter account see that?
It'll go to my, yes, if that was your Twitter handle, it would actually be able to find your Twitter handle, I think. It would from Instagram. But since you're the Vic Cohen, it would go to some other guy. Or it would go to whoever. If I tagged the Vic Cohen, if that existed on Twitter and that's not you, it would go to whoever that is.
Well, what I'm saying is make it real clear, like you tagged me, meaning you said, so when someone sees that's me, they know it's Vic Cohen. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is in the actual body of what you wrote, are you going to say ampersand at Vic Cohen? Because that's my Twitter name. I'm with at.
I mean, the at.
Forget the for a moment. My Twitter name is different than my Instagram name.
I could also have put
That's
that.
What I'm saying.
I could also have put that, and it would hit you on Twitter.
Is that a good idea to be doing both?
Sure.
Okay, it's not redundant. Because it wouldn't show. Would it show up?
You have the option on Instagram to push to multiple platforms.
And what are those?
So it depends. So those are the ones. So you can do Foursquare, which is a geolocation application, which allows people to let you know where you are, like you're checking in at locations.
And what's the, okay, go on. We'll get to it.
I checked in at Skidrow Studios via Instagram. So there's that. You can do Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook.
And Foursquare. So there's 5 things.
And
really.
Foursquare. And there's like a couple other ones that are from like Asian social media.
Is that on those are options on your Instagram?
Exactly. So when you post when you post the Instagram image, you can post it to multiple places.
Is that what you suggest? Everything?
It depends. I mean, there's certain things that I do that I don't want the whole world to know about. I only want my Instagram friends to know. So I don't always post every picture to Facebook. I don't always post every Instagram picture to Twitter.
Why don't you just have anyone who's interested in Brian Rada follow you on Instagram?
That's not a bad idea. I mean, it depends upon where most people who get big on social media, this is actually a really great question. They get big on one platform and the rest of them become like they feed the main platform. So for YouTube stars, which YouTube, again, is its own social media platform. That's their main video is the way that they get out in the world. And so that's their main social media platform, YouTube. And everything they're doing is supporting YouTube. So when you're talking about, so if I'm interested in, making somebody a YouTube star, I'm looking at the whole world that's supporting their YouTube videos, which is their main social media platform.
So the idea is you're using all these say the supportive type social media, the supportive to throw people to direct them to the YouTube. Like, hey,
Exactly.
it's Vic Cohen. Check out my new video.
Yep.
This is me on the set of, or whatever, my new video that's coming out today.
Yep.
And then I'm with Brian Rada.
Yep.
And then so now I've got you on my thing to get all your followers to check me out.
Exactly.
But the ultimate goal is to get you to get clicks on YouTube.
Absolutely. So I'm interested in looking at what they're doing outside of that, if that's their main platform, what they're doing outside of that. But you see a lot of people becoming Instagram stars, like a lot of fashion people. They have their outfit of the day, and they're posting. All they're doing is dressing up in new cute outfits and posting 2 or 3 photos of them a day in different outfits. They become huge followers, and Instagram is their main following.
So it sounds to me, because you are a strategist in this is what you do, that it's helping your clients come up with clarity as to who they are, who they want to reach, and how they're going to do it.
Exactly.
Because you can't be a generalist, is what I'm hearing. You can't say, I want it all. And that's probably what most of your clients say. And some of that's coming out of lack of clarity.
Absolutely.
Because is it fair to say you can't be as they say, a jack of all trades, but master of none?
Yeah, that's the quote. That's absolutely the quote.
But is it appropriate to apply that to your clients when someone's new and isn't familiar with how this works?
Absolutely. That's a very good, I help them to understand. I always say to them, where can you realistically be? There's 15 viable social media platforms out there.
Really?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
That you could dig into. Where are you going to spend your time? So if you only have so many hours in the day, maybe you're not going to be on all 15, but you're going to be on 5 of them, or you're going to be on 4 of them. Or maybe you're only going to be on 3, but on those 3, you're going to kick ass. That's where you're going to really live.
So there's some discipline about selecting that.
Absolutely. And it's better to be all in on one platform and then be sort of semi in on 10 of them.
And that's kind of like a philosophy in life. I mean, if we don't have focus, it's very hard.
Exactly. So for you, I would say this is your social media platform. I mean, this is your show. This is where people can find us, where you want to drive traffic to.
Right.
I mean, a podcast isn't necessarily a social media platform. It's not interactive in the way that a YouTube channel is. Right. I mean, but you're a part of this studio, part of this network. So you're driving traffic to this network. But this is where all your social media is supporting what's happening here.
And also I'm on iTunes.
Yeah, so exactly. So you're on iTunes, and we're also being videographed. We're also being videoed.
Shot, taped.
We're being shot. We're being taped. Yeah, taped. That's so funny because there's no tape. There's no tape in these cameras, right? But so right now, this is all ancillary content to feed where you're driving your traffic, which is to this show.
Now, Vine is a 6-second video, correct?
Vine is really fascinating, and it's really, quote unquote, the big term in social or anything tech is disruption. Vine has disrupted YouTube in a way that no other social media platform has, because it's video and it's 6 seconds, and you're seeing Vine stars who have the amount of following that has taken, say, a YouTube star 2 or 3 years to build. They're doing it in 6 months.
How?
Because they're making their videos are so much shorter, so it's all about feeding the beast.
But how funny are they? Or entertaining?
They're pretty funny. I mean, one of the biggest ones out there is Brittany Furlan, who was just on the red carpet last year interviewing all of the daytime soap stars at the Daytime Emmys because of her social media presence.
What's her hook?
She's funny and attractive. And
I mean, don't having big boobs help?
And she also has big boobs.
There you go. Doesn't it, to me, if
she has big boobs, I'm not going to lie. And she's gorgeous.
And they look really good,
She's a beautiful girl. Yeah, she's a really stunning girl.
How good are her boobs on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would say they're between a 9 and 10.
So boob tube, she could.
Yeah, she could be on boob tube. Yeah. So, but she's not just. I don't think that's it. I don't think that alone that helps. But that's not, especially when video. You've got to be authentic. So she's not just. She's attractive, but she's also witty and funny. And
so she'll just say witty, funny things in 6 seconds.
She creates comedy. She's kind of she's like a bit of a sketch queen goddess.
I heard you can't make any money on Vine.
That's not true. I think she's doing quite well for herself right now.
What's a lot of money? What's doing quite well for oneself?
I mean, I would imagine, the top people on Vine and YouTube are making easily 6 figures. Some of them are making 7 figures.
There are people making $1 million. YouTube.
Millions of dollars on YouTube. Absolutely.
But they have costs too, right? I mean,
oh yeah. I mean, they become their own production companies. So it's all about feeding the beast. So they have to keep producing content to do the ad split, the revenue share with YouTube itself. But they also get branded entertainment deals, branded deals, people coming in.
Isn't that where the money is?
There's probably a lot more money there than anywhere else. Yeah.
I mean, if you have enough followers,
yeah,
then they'll say, just tweet about this.
Yeah, and I think those days are kind of long, one and done. I think those days of one and done are gone. I mean, you got to really show. It's not just one tweet's going to make a difference.
How long does it take? You said a person on Vine can become a quote unquote star. What is a star? I mean, on Vine, is that how many you have to have followers, right? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we all can determine our own level of success,
But industry standards.
Was it Andy Warhol that said that everybody's going to have their 15 minutes?
Yeah.
And so we're all a star to somebody. We all have our own fan base. In fact, actually, I have my own fans, and actually, I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Brian Gonzalez.
Okay, why are you doing that?
Well, because he wanted, if I'm a podcast, he wanted me to mention him. So.
But what do you get out of that?
Well, I think it's
by talking to Brian.
Well, because
you're not doing it just to be a good guy, are you?
Well,
I mean, there is some value to your brand, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, potentially, I'm building a relationship with somebody who will follow videos that I post or things I'm doing with my career.
What's so important about Brian Gonzalez? How did he make the top of the heap?
Well, I mean, he asked me. He asked.
Really?
He asked.
So
he said,
the idea is
mention me on the podcast. I said, okay, I will.
And it makes you cool because you're like, look, I say hi to my fans.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly. Now, as Brian Rada Consulting and Brian Rada get bigger, that's maybe I won't have the time, but you certainly. But that's when you get a team who helps you and supports you in that.
So Vine, you say, takes about 6 months. If somehow you hit it right.
Well, And
also, you didn't.
There's no formula. How often are you posting? If you're posting a Vine once a week, it's not going to happen. If you're posting 3 or 4 Vines a day, and you perfect the art of the Vine, and you get really good at it, and you start getting really good at one niche type of video, and you blow up in that way, then sure, it could take 6 months, could take a year, could take a year, 18 months.
I see a lot of videos where people will talk to others on the street. They never get permission. They never get a release signed.
The smart ones do. The smart ones do.
Even on Vine?
I don't know about Vine.
Because I've worked in TV, I've done a lot of network stuff.
I know.
I mean, we have to have people signing releases.
Oh, yeah.
I look at the stuff on YouTube, like the wild and, crazy.
Well, a lot of it's non-union, or people aren't working inside of unions.
But there are California laws and other laws in other states that say you need to, even after you've shot it and you want to post it, you need to have permission.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it just doesn't seem like it's happening. Like when So, now what's going on there? You're back to your phone.
I'm just.
Isn't this a problem? Do you date? This would drive me crazy. Not that you're my type, but I mean, kind of into ladies, but kind of. It's. What is going on?
I'm just checking in to see if there's any response to the social media. If there's anything else I need to post.
I mean, isn't this part of the problem? You're not living in the real moment.
Well, no. Somebody just shared our link.
Oh, that's good, right?
That's
why'd
great.
you give them a shot?
He just shared the link, the photo that went from Instagram to Facebook. This is a publicist. He's a nice guy. Great talk with Brian Rada Consulting on social media. Tune in now.
Why don't you give him a shout out or her?
I will. Gabriel Reyes. He's awesome from Reyes Entertainment.
You know Gabriel.
I do. Yeah, and I'm working with him on a project, so it's really great that he just did that.
That's great. Yes, you bolted in here and immediately you were on the phone, like doing your thing. It was interesting.
Well, it's a part of my life. I know what I know it needs to be done.
I mean, don't you get tired of that?
There's a balance. So this is great. So 2 of my best friends, actually people who know me very well, if I'm talking to them, like people I talk to on a regular basis, I talk to 2 or 3 people almost every day, right? And they'll go, okay, get off Facebook. I know you're on Facebook right now. Get off of it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm totally present. They're like, no, you're not. And they'll call me out, which is good. And I need to hear that.
I called you out.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. That's why we're good friends.
But the good thing is, it was like in the moment because it's actually relevant to what we're talking about.
It is.
Because you were doing your job.
Well, for this part, I'm trying to help you. I'm interested to see if I'm being effective.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I'm being effective.
I'm sorry. Okay.
So,
I'm sorry.
Yes. No.
No, I feel bad.
No.
Vic, I'm trying to help you. Fine, I'll stop, Vic.
No, I'm just curious to see, how do things go viral? How do things spread? Who's paying attention? Who's listening?
So that's part of the interest, the fun. You get feedback by seeing where it's
that's
going.
exactly right. And the name of the game isn't just who's may have seen it, who engages with it. The name of the game is engagement. So it's not necessarily how big is your fan base or your audience, but who engages with you. So what I'm looking for right now is who engaged with the post that I just made. I had 5 likes and 1 person shared it.
Where
That's
did you get
bad.
these likes? On Facebook?
On Facebook. Well, now let me go to Instagram and see who's liked it on Instagram.
And again, the post you posted, is what?
So I got 6 likes on Instagram and
20 dislikes.
And 1 comment.
What did you write, by the way?
I just said, join me right now on Vic Cohen's It's a Fair Question right now with the link and #podcast, #web series, #YouTube stars, #iTunes. And then I think I tagged you, but I don't know if it came through. So I tried to tag you on it. The thing also with social media, I think's really great. It's not to be perfect.
Right. It's about the doing.
It's about it's always, and it's very meta. It's actually a philosophical, it can be a mental, you can't be attached to it being perfect because a whole new crop of people will see it. Half the people in your fan base won't see it. And the next time you post something, a whole new crop of people will see it. So it's really about, and you'll love this. This is perfect industry stuff. Okay.
Good.
I literally was at Social Media Week like 3 or 4 months ago, and this big executive from Endemol, which is mainly focused on reality television.
I know Endemol.
Okay.
They did Deal or Deal or No Deal, which I worked on.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Endemol, he said, and he's the head of their digital, he's like, if you're spending more time editing your videos than you're actually publishing them, you're not spending your time wisely. He basically was saying quality versus quantity, and he was saying he was now voting for the quantity.
Really?
Quantity mattered more than quality.
Okay. So what?
Because in the YouTube world and in the Vine world and in the social media world, it's not even necessarily, you want to have posts that are engaging, but it's equally as important that you're constantly posting.
Because they forget.
Yeah, they'll forget you. You got to feed the beast. So if you're spending more time editing to make your video perfect, that's not the best use of your time. The best use of your time is to keep putting it out there.
That is a great point.
It's a balance. Now, I'm not saying keep putting out, caca, because that's not going to serve anybody either.
Now, sometimes in the past, I will look at someone on YouTube who has like incredible amount of views, particularly when they're girls, like a 25-year-old with, I don't want to be sexist here, but I'm going to just share some thoughts. And she's got, very, as we were saying, large breasts and beautiful flowing blonde hair and blue eyes. And she's adorable and she's so cute. I'm like, of course people are watching her. Yeah. Like, if I were, teenager or whatever, I'd be watching that girl. Yeah. All the time. But by the same token, there are plenty of male stars who are not attractive. Yeah. So it's really kind of a cop-out for someone to say, well, you just have to be really hot. I'm sure you've heard that.
Absolutely.
And I don't think...
this is another great thing. I don't know if you saw this last week, but Kathy Lee and Hoda from the Today Show. Yeah. As we're off, they're the 4th hour, right? Isn't it the Today Show? They're on that.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. So they're on, or it's like ABC, I don't know, which big network, right? The Kathy Lee and Hoda show, the last hour. I think it's a Today Show. So they had on a huge YouTube star. Her name is Grace Helbig. And Grace is gorgeous. She's blonde, great body. But they're like, well, how do you go viral? And they just kind of like were on this like kind of rant about what's viral? How do you make a viral video? Blah, blah. It's like Grace has been doing this for 6 years. She's very smart. Yeah. She's not just another pretty face. Right. So I think to become a Grace Helbig, who I think now just signed a network deal with E, she's going to have her own TV show. That's great. Because of her YouTube stardom. It's not just that. You got to have brains and brawn, as they say, beauty and brains.
Well, the work ethic I've seen from these people is incredible.
It is. I mean, and also I got to say, there's also a dark side to this. I know many people who burn out. I know many YouTube stars who I've heard many stories, like they just...
Let's hear them.
Well, I worked with one girl recently who was just like, I'm kind of like really got to peel it back. I was doing 4 or 5 videos a week. I'm going to do 2 a week.
Because?
She because she's a legitimate actress. She has her advanced degree in acting, and she's an actress. And YouTube pays her bills to some degree, but she's also got auditions, and she's writing TV pilots, and she's auditioning for pilot season, and she's doing theater, and you know what I mean? So she can't feed it all, put her energy there, and it starts to suck the life out of her.
Brian, tell me, name 3 people off of YouTube who now are on mainstream television. And we could say most of the people watching or listening, no. Name 2.
Oh, no, I can give them 3. Well, there's a lot of stuff in the works happening right now.
Right this moment.
Right this moment. So one person that I interviewed last year.
Okay, in the works. We'll count in the works. Okay, go on.
Well, no, but one I interviewed last year was Fred. This guy named Lucas Cruikshank is the actor's name. And he had a character on YouTube called Fred.
Okay.
It was huge, like 18 months ago. I mean, he's still pretty big. But he signed a 3-picture deal with Nickelodeon. Okay. So there's him.
When you say 3-picture, do you mean they're going to take
movies.
3 Instagram pictures? I just want to be very clear because I know how you know how to spin things as a consultant.
I do.
I've got to keep you, got to be on top of you. So you mean feature films?
Yeah, feature films, yeah.
Wow, okay. Who's this guy, Fred?
Fred, he's just everywhere. Fred, hey, I'm Fred Ficklehorn. Yeah, like he started when he was 12. He started on YouTube when he was 12 or 13. He's now 20, 21.
We were at that YouTube party. Who is that? Do we ever figure out who that kid with the big glasses was? No. Remember we pointed to that kid? He looked like something. It's like, I mean, is this a clique, these YouTube stars? And like, is it like a lot of misfits, or is it like a high school? You got the cool kids, and then you've got the kids who are like the burnouts, and then what is that?
I think it's that's a good question. That's a good question. I think, with any industry, it's its own thing. YouTube isn't trying to replace anything else. Just like, film didn't replace radio, TV didn't replace film, cable didn't replace TV. YouTube isn't replacing anything. It's just its own, it's another sandbox. And there are people who rise to the top. The creme de la creme always rises, and they all get to know each other, and they all collaborate and get to,
I see a lot of sharing, because people want to support each other because it's more clicks all around.
Well, they call collab. It is a term in the YouTube creator playbook. It's called collabs.
What's the player book? Is there a book?
There's a book, and Sam, now I'm giving away some of my secrets, saying that this is a free consultation right here, Vic.
Yeah, it is. Do you think I'm stupid?
There's a reason why I came on the show, right?
Absolutely.
I know. You're getting all my tips for free.
Well, I am sure there are plenty more. This is how you do it, by the way. You say a little, you give a little, and you go, if you want to know more, if you like this.
That's right. If you want to know more, follow me at Rada Consulting.
You're doing it just right.
I am. I think so. And in fact, I just had I was talking to a possible client on the way over here who saw my article. I was just featured in the Television Academy.
I read that.
As a digital strategist.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was a fantastic article, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you can see that article if you just... You can Google.
Emmys.com and my name, and it'll
really
pop up.
good. Congratulations. How did you get that? I got to put a pin on it. Sorry. Because if I don't reel it back a minute, I'm going to forget this.
Sure.
I want to just go back to I asked you for 3 people.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so we got Fred, Shane Dawson, who actually has a television show coming out.
Who's Shane Dawson?
He's like top 10 YouTube.
What does he do?
Creme de la creme. He does a lot of sketch comedy stuff.
Okay, number 3.
And somebody else who's made it big to television. Well, Daily Grace, or Grace Helbig. It's called It's Grace is her YouTube channel. It was formerly Daily Grace. She was with another company, and now she has a show, I believe, coming out on E! this coming year.
Sometimes I feel like it could be overwhelming. Like, you want to do a sketch. Well, oh my God, I got to write it. I've got to get a crew. I've got to get lighting. I've got to, and it becomes so overwhelming that it could be hard to start. What is like the easiest type of, is the Vine the easiest because it's 6 seconds and all you do is point and shoot?
There's one guy who I know, apparently his name's Daystorm. He was a big YouTuber. He still is a big YouTuber, but now he's just doing Vines every day because he's building his brand there. And I think he does. I think word on the street is he hangs out with his posse. He brings over some of his friends. They just make Vine videos all day. And I don't know what his business deal or business arrangement is with them, but for some people, they're not even interested in money. There's cachet and value just by hanging out and being seen and being around those people for a year. Then they get to build up their own following, and then if they split up and do their own shows. Who are you talking about?
I'm a little confused. So if I'm Dave Storm and I'm out there...
Daystorm.
D-A-Y?
D-E.
Of course.
Daystorm. It's like D-E-S-T-O-R-M. Daystorm. Okay.
What does he look like, this guy?
He's like a good-looking, like African-American rapper.
Okay. I didn't think he was like a little white Jewish guy with the name Storm. So he's like a rapper, hip-hop?
Yeah,
kind of
he's
thing?
like a rapper, hip-hop
That's
guy.
his hook?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it now.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like Vine is probably the easiest type of media or.
Yeah, it can be. Certainly.
But you got to be clever still.
Well, look, storytelling. And the problem, or I would say some of the challenges that people in the digital space, they didn't even forget growing up in TV. They grew up on YouTube. I mean, and I come from the theater. My background, I don't know if I'm dating myself. Now I sound really old and dated. But there's a lot of basic...
Vaudeville, actually. He's that old.
Vaudeville, yeah, exactly. No, seriously. But I have a degree in theater. I understand basic principles of storytelling. I have a background as a performer. I still perform, actually, on some of my clients' projects. So I fundamentally get storytelling.
Right.
And there's a beginning, middle, and end that you get there that some people who are creating no matter what you're doing.
Even a 6-minute video.
Or a 6 second. Yeah, there is. There's a loop. There's a beginning, middle, and end. And if you can understand that if you can understand beginning, middle, and end, no matter what platform you're working on, that'll help a lot.
A while ago, I was like thinking about with YouTube, why focus, let's say as a creator, on YouTube? Because if you, before YouTube offered monetizing, it was like, but even now, it's like, it's the only game in town if you want to do videos. Like, let's say you create what I'm saying is like, with television, you've got different networks that compete against each other. But with YouTube, it's just YouTube. So if something happened to YouTube or they changed their policies or they decided, we're not going to monetize or they make it so low, your whole career is completely changed.
Well, you raise a really interesting point. And I think this has been a talk in the last year specifically. A lot of the top YouTubers are very aware of that. And YouTube has a policy of 3 strikes. If you violate their terms of service or policy in any way 3 times, and they'll cancel your channel.
And sometimes what I've read, and I don't know if this is true, is one of them is through clicking illegally. In other words, if a YouTuber just sat there and kept hitting click, it might show more views, but that's against the policy, right?
Yeah.
And but what if there's a misunderstanding and it's like,
well, there's that's a whole world I don't necessarily get into, but there's a lot of illegal services people can use. There's third-party applications people are using to boost, like, are the numbers real?
Oh, or, really technical.
Also, if we're looking at comedy, what's parody? So you can use somebody's song, but does it fall under parody, or is it? Especially for a lot of the musicians on YouTube, they can be torn down for copyright.
So the concern is that a talent who's maybe making millions suddenly, even maybe accidentally, correct?
Yes. So this is why brand building, so this is where we talk about, what's where I come in. So I help people build their brands on multiple platforms. They're not just focused on the one, but we look out at their whole digital presence, a cohesive look at where are you found, how are people discovering you, how are you building your brand on multiple platforms, so you're not just beholden to one.
How do you get seen on Vine? Let's say I do a hilarious video.
I think it's just, you can get featured by Vine. You can, you just keep, it's like anything. Just like, okay, this is classic. So for the old school social media folk, on every platform has an algorithm, which is a mathematical function that dictates how you interact, like that follows how you're interacting with that platform. So the more you comment or like on people on Facebook, the more they'll show up in your feed. So I have over 4,000 friends on Facebook, right? Probably like 4,400. I'm almost maxing out in my personal page, okay? Mm-hmm. So, but I don't see all of them, don't pop in my feed. Maybe the top 300-400 people do. But those people show up because I interact with their posts, right? And the more I interact, the more they show up. So it's like anything. And with Vine, the more you post, the more you get seen. The more you hashtag, the more you get discovered. The more you engage, the more you post, the more you comment on other people's videos, the more your rank goes up.
So I didn't realize
all of them work the same way. They're all that way.
So Facebook, if you have 4,000 friends, you're only going to see the feeds of the people you interact with?
Yeah.
But sometimes I see stuff that from someone I don't even really know very well.
Well, it depends upon how often that person is posting and how everything is weighted. So even if they're only posting once every 2 weeks, but it'll always show up in your feed because maybe you're subscribing to them or you're following them on Facebook. But there's also other things of why it would show up. I don't work there, so right. I don't know what their secret sauce is. Regarding
the YouTube and the possibility, this concern about like the 3 strikes you're out.
Yeah.
Isn't there also a concern that what if YouTube were to change their policies or they were to make it where it no longer became feasible to make?
Well, that's why YouTube changes their algorithm every 2 to 3 weeks or every once a month. It's always changing. So the things that maybe tips and tricks that they learned if they post at a certain time or if they hashtag certain things or they make their videos a certain length, that can all weigh in as to how it gets seen or weighted. In fact, I do know.
What does weighted mean?
Like weighted in terms of for search engine optimization, so it's discoverable. So it's weighted in the search engines.
Now it's getting really complicated to me. So and my head's kind of getting fuzzy.
Okay,
but isn't this where that's where people come in and they get a longer explanation because it is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, then you can book your 4-hour consultation with Brian Roddick Consulting, and we'll work it out.
If you have a question here for Brian. And he won't even charge you. It's 800-893-9562. You can actually call us. That's 800. Now he's taking a picture of me. 800-893-9562 if you have a question for Brian. So what's happening with that photo that you just took?
Well, why not? Let's post it to Instagram again. Let's build a little more play here, right? So we'll see. We'll just keep it going. And I'm just going to keep this simple. So I see them. People can see my mic. They can see it from my point of view. What we're doing.
Again, if you wanted to give us a quick call, 800-893-9562. Now, I know that you've worked on a bunch of series on YouTube as a consultant.
Mm-hmm.
There's Husbands.
Mm-hmm.
I had a chance to check that out.
Thank you.
I noticed, sure, that the episodes are
I just worked on the first season.
Okay.
They're into the 3rd season, but they have another publicist now. I just want to clarify.
Were you a publicist?
Because I'll get in trouble.
Okay, no problem. No, I appreciate your honesty, and I know that's important to be clear about that. Now, Husbands, what I noticed about those episodes, they're really short, some of them, like under 2 minutes.
They've changed their format. The first season the first season was 3 minutes. And then they did about 8 episodes for 3 minutes, 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then their second season, they did 3 episodes that were 8 minutes apiece.
Okay.
So each of them they were basically television pilots each season.
We had a call, and it looks like did we drop that call, Jeremy? Did it drop? No, is it there? Okay, let's take this call. Go ahead. Who is this?
Hi, my name is Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from New York City.
Oh, okay, that's on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa.
Kind of.
What's your question? Thank you for listening. And are you watching or listening?
I'm actually just listening, and I just tuned in. So
right.
Forgive me if I'm going to ask something that you guys discussed already. My question is, what is the most effective way to build a Twitter account?
I'll tell you. Post naked pictures of yourself.
Okay.
Are you an attractive?
You haven't seen me.
Well, and I don't want to be rude, but if you're not let's say you don't think you're a looker, just show parts of yourself.
Okay.
Like a nipple, just a nipple.
Okay.
And let the guys wonder. That's what I would do. Do you have pretty feet? If you have like a pretty, get your nails done, your toenails, I would do that. Just show a big toe.
All the foot fetishes will start contacting
Well,
me.
you know what? That's my suggestion. Brian, what do you suggest?
Meet me at Jappos.
Well, you want to be careful who you're attracting into your life. So you might get a lot of foot fetish people if you start posting photos of your feet, Lisa.
But if Lisa were to just show a nipple, like, is that allowed?
No.
Yeah. I'm not sure what Twitter's policy is on nudity.
Okay,
I'm not 100%
so maybe
sure
that's a bad suggestion.
Actually, I'm planning on launching a web series, and so I wanted to start out by just starting with a Twitter account and start, just building an audience first before I launch. So that's what I'm looking to do. I already have a personal Twitter account, And I don't have a huge amount of followers, but I interact a lot with people. I get a ton of retweets, a ton of favorites. I interact. I mean, I have conversations with people. So
Great.
It's like a real Twitter account. I love Twitter.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. So first off, the name of the game, you're already doing one thing, which is great, which is engaging. So it's not just a one-way conversation. And the thing about social media, Vic, that, is really key is that it is a conversation. You want to keep the conversation
But what
going.
do you talk about?
Talk about a lot of things. You put out a post, you see who responds, you keep the conversation going.
Does it always have to be about promoting something?
No, not at all. It could be about a lot of different things.
You'd say it thundered tonight in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've found like for myself that I date. It's almost like going into a cocktail party. So
that's exactly what it is.
Nothing like going to a cocktail
party. At night, and I see what people are talking about, and I just join the conversation. And I've gotten a lot of followers like that, but I want to build followers in a quicker way because that took me a number of years to build up, and I only have 1,600 followers or something.
Hey, Lisa, I don't know if you've ever been to a cocktail party, but it's nothing like being on Twitter, just by the way.
Depends how much you have to drink, I would say.
Yeah, unless you're drinking in the living room. But
right.
Okay.
So just to give her one quick piece of advice here, Lisa, the thing I would start doing is following people who, in your building your brand of your show, follow other web series, follow other people who are in that world. Well, it gets people to kind of hear about her because if she goes to a real cocktail party, they'll go, "Oh, you just followed me on Twitter. I know who you are."
Really, people do look that closely.
Absolutely,
even
because it'll show up if you're depending upon your settings. You'll get an email saying, Lisa's now following you on Twitter.
Is it creepy to find, let's say, a super A-list celebrity and go, ampersand at Howard Stern, you expect him to actually respond back?
No, no. Yes and no, depending. Some of them do, but the other way I would go about it, real quickly. Another thing that a lot of smart people do is start friending the people who they're talking to a lot on Twitter. So I would start friending the lesser people. If there's somebody who you think is in alignment with your brand or your show, friend their friends or follow their friends on Twitter. Start conversations with them. So you start building. It's literally like you become a trust agent. There's a great book out there by a guy named Chris Brogan.
I have that book. I just bought it. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, read Trust Agents. You'll love it because you want to build your credibility.
Lisa, thank you so much for the call, and I hope you can listen. You'll listen to the show again. We've got some really fun.
I will. Thank you so much. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and good luck with you in your series. Don't make sure you do it.
Send me an email, Lisa, if you need a private consultation at Rada Consulting on Twitter, and I'll.
You also have some kind of package people can buy. I noticed.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we have time for another quick call. Goodbye, Lisa. Thanks again. 800-893-9562 is the number here. And that was fun.
So now this is great. This is a perfect. Yeah. So one of my friends is commenting on the Instagram. He said you're mentioning breasts a lot.
Yeah.
It's sexual harassment.
That's not harassment. That lady doesn't work for me. No one's working for me. Who is that? Who said that?
No, it was my.
I'm giving out good advice. And you know what, Brian? I bet you anything you'll be giving this advice later. Right?
Yes.
You got to use what you got to use. I mean, the woman said she's, not necessarily like a model. I'm trying to help her.
Yeah. Oh, no. I don't think he was talking about Lisa. He's just saying we're talking about breasts.
Oh, well.
But breasts are great. That's a great hashtag. When I go viral, hashtag breasts.
Really?
Hashtag cleavage.
Do you do stuff like that?
Well, we're talking about it. So it could be something that, people who want to hear about breast will.
Now, sometimes my humor...
Certainly a way to get discovered.
Sometimes my humor might lean a little towards adults, So...
Yeah.
If you get flagged on where it's like adult content must be 18 on YouTube, is that a death sentence?
No, I don't think so. YouTube is so ubiquitous now that,
even the kids are somehow finding a way to that stuff. Or you really?
No, I think you're going to find an older demographic. It just may not be quite as big, but you'll find people who are into it.
Okay, great. Anything else you'd like to add? Because we're almost out of time here.
We are.
It's really flown by, but what? Any other big tips?
Well, I always include for you. So we should do the send off here. So you always want to include, no matter what you're doing at any show, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they friend you? So why don't you do yours, and then you can ask well, Brian, where can people find you? And then that way it's always a nice way to sort of end. For more information, check out.
Okay, good. So, hello, I'm Vic. Hello, is this thing on?
Yes.
How am I doing so far?
You're doing great.
Okay, so if you'd like to find me, you can find me usually at Pete's or Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. The Coffee Bean on Sunset and, with the counter, that one by the DGA on Sunset near Laurel Canyon. You can often find me there. You can also find me on weekends in the morning. I love that place, and
your social media.
The Griddle.
Yeah.
They have great French press coffee, by the way.
I know.
Okay, at Vic Cohen. That's my Twitter name. At the Vic Cohen.
Yeah.
Would be my Instagram name. You can find me on Facebook at Vic Cohen. And also I have a website, viccohen.com. And also on my YouTube channel. I've got tons of videos, lots of stuff from my work on television. And some other stuff that I'd love for you to check out. And
about the show specifically, you want to mention, always follow us here on Skidrow Studios.
Yes, that's true too. And the name of the show is Vic Cohen's It's a Fair Question. You can find that on iTunes and subscribe.
Yes, that's a great call to actions. I always tell my clients that the call to action.
Okay.
So for me, a little promo. My name is...
Let me introduce...
Go ahead.
Okay, Brian Rada, our guest. How can people find you?
That's excellent. I love that. Well, obviously, one of the hub of my work is at brianrodaconsulting.com.
And that's, how do you spell that, Brian?
BrianRodda consulting.
Okay. Yes.
.com. And you can friend me on Facebook at Brian Rada, Mr. Brian Rada, facebook.com /
Mr.
Mr. Brian Rada, Mr. Brian Rada.
Why'd you do Mr.?
Because / Brian Rada was taken by some other bozo in Northern California who also has my name. I know. But it's fine. But typically, the thing with search, this is where the algorithm comes in. Since I use Facebook more than anyone, I'm the first one to pop up. So that's also where it comes into. So even if you just put in Brian Rada, I'll probably be the first one to pop up.
What do you mean?
In terms of for search on Facebook, if you're searching for, you don't have to put in Mr. Brian Rada, it'll just be Brian Rada because I'm that out there.
Okay, good.
So you can follow me there. You can also follow me on Twitter for more about my business at Rada Consulting. And that's pretty much it. I'm also on Instagram at Brian Rada. Pretty much everywhere Brian Rada. I've claimed all my digital presence. It's just straight Brian Rada.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's the name again?
BrianRodda.
It's so annoying. I'm annoying me right now.
And I also, if you also want to see me act and be on camera, you can check out brianrodda.com.
All right. Well, thanks again, Brian, for being here.
Absolutely.
Again, I learned so much, and we have to have you back because I want another free consultation. I know how to work it.
You do.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
You gave some amazing advice. Great start, and that's really what you gave us, I feel.
Good.
So
it would be awesome. My pleasure to come back. I'd love to come back on a quarterly basis.
You're amazing.
I can recommend clients of mine to you.
Okay, that would be fun.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I got some good
I like how you do it. Like, you're always working, taking pictures and stuff. And really, you don't stop. He's doing it again. All right. Thank you all for listening and watching, if you're watching. And please check out the show. Again, you can subscribe on iTunes. It's Vic Cohen's It's a Fair Question. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks. All right. I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question. It's a fair question. It's a fair question. I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question. It's a fair question. I'm Vic Cohen, and it's a fair question.